You're listening to the Caramel Apples Podcast, the apple snack that brings you a retro vibe, both crunchy and sweet, with your hosts, Kennedy Rizzo and Cooper Lee. Hey, Coop, how you doing this week?
I would have to say I'm doing pretty good.
Nice, nice.
How are you?
I'm doing okay. A little chilly right now, but I guess that's to be expected.
It is. We went from roasting to now we're definitely going towards the colder weather. So
Yeah, I think that I don't know. We're always complaining, I guess, but we're never at a shortage of conversation because of that, right?
yeah, that's right. Yes, you can always talk about the weather.
That's true. But another thing that Coop and I love to dive into is talking about things in places of the past, which we have quite a good list today to share with you, Orchard Archivers.
Yes. And speaking of one such thing, of things that have gone the way of the dodo, that would be arcades.
Mm-hmm.
You know, arcades, that was something that you could see readily anywhere around in the 70s and definitely into the 80s.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you think about, how things or people would always have to go to a place to have this type of fun. And arcades was a mainstay in the 80s for everybody, really, but that was really like their target market was young males.
Yes.
So you go to the mall and you'd walk by there and it was never short of people. There was always somebody in there feeding the machines their quarters and such.
Yes, absolutely. And, remember there was a movie that came out a few years back, Wreck-It Ralph?
Too, I like that movie.
I do too. It's really cute, isn't it?
Turbotastic.
But that's exactly where it all started, was based in an arcade, and then it got into the characters themselves. But it's like, that's really what it was, because people back in the day, they couldn't afford gaming systems like that. Some people had them, but by and large, the majority of people did not have gaming systems in their home.
Right,
So
right.
especially little boys, because that was their thing.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know, like our girl squad, one of our closest friends at the time, when they finally started getting them in their home,
Yeah.
um, it was her dad that got the NES, the Nintendo. And that's where one of our first memories of being able to play hardcore, like Super Mario Brothers, Duck Hunt, and like Zelda. But like again, we didn't go into arcades per se because we just had other stuff to do.
Right.
But that when the memory of it takes you back and makes you think of our youth.
Yeah.
But we did go to arcades or mess with the games. Like, where did we do that?
Well, today would be Dave and Buster's if we were going to do it. But back then, it was definitely Showbiz Pizza.
Yes, Showbiz.
Yes, aside from the pizza itself, because we've already, we've touched on pizza before, how much it was a thing, but we were totally into like skee ball and
Oh yeah,
whack-a-mole.
Yeah, give us our tickets, please. Little cheap toys from the tickets.
Yeah, and it was always like the little plastic characters that had like little parachutes or whatever. It's like 100,000 tickets for one little thing like that. It's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, we were
happy to get something.
Yeah, we were ripped off. Yeah.
But the
So
parents are like, we paid for just some happiness. That's what we got.
I guess that was worth every quarter in their estimation.
Yes. So another thing that people would really get into that you would be very hard pressed to find now would be like a roller rink.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you might find a game or two there as well.
Oh my goodness. You know what? And roller skating and roller rinks, we remember hardcore. That's
Oh
now
yeah.
we frequented these.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Um, I don't think until we started really diving back into nostalgia how much of a mainstay it actually was when we were kids.
It really was. On into the 90s, really. I mean,
Yes.
yeah. I mean, people, you look forward to those little invitations coming for someone having a skating party.
We sure did.
And you knew it was your skating party because there were balloons around the benches you were going to use.
That's it. You'd come in there and trade your shoes in for if you rented skates.
Yes.
If because of course, it was just how it was. We didn't have the money for that kind of stuff. Always wanted them, but we never had the money to get them.
Yeah.
But we were fine with that. You could rent skates. We'd go in there. We'd trade your shoes off, kind of like in bowling. Get your skates.
Yep.
And I think there was lockers, right? That you
There
could
were definitely lockers. Yeah.
put your belongings in to keep those safe. Yeah, there was a little mini arcade there in case you wanted to take a break and give the skating a rest. You could go over there and enjoy your snacks from the snack bar.
From the snack bar, get you a nice little hot pretzel. Yum.
Oh, can I have one now, please?
I'd be in line with you as well. Those things are good.
They are. There's nothing better than a hot pretzel.
Yes. And then after you enjoy your hot pretzel, you'd work your way out to the little practice area, because it's like, well, gotta warm up to this. You couldn't just hit out there with everybody. You had to get over in the practice area, which I swear was 10 times slicker than the other floor.
I know, right?
Plus, it was full of little kids.
Oh, that was the worst. I mean, we were younger too, but man, there'd be like little punks in there.
Yes.
And they'd be just giving their all, swinging them arms, and you're so trying not to kill these poor little things. Or kill us, trying to avoid them. We end up falling. But another cute thing about that is they get out there and then like if they had to stop, they had what are those things that were called on the front of your skate?
Oh, toe stoppers.
Toe stops. Was you a fan of those, Coop?
They were pretty ones. Do you remember the pretty ones you could get if you were so inclined?
Yeah, like the bright pink or green ones.
Yes, and then you get glow sticks to kind of match.
Oh, and the disco balls going. They got them top 40 greatest hits going, or the slow jam, so you could backwards skate with your crush.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, and they turn the lights down a little bit. Oh my goodness!
Now, if you're not whirring around there at 60 miles per hour, you can actually feel the wind when you stand off the side watching. Say we're off on a break. Now it's time to go to the restroom. What was that like, Coop?
Well, as you're going through and rolling around on this ugly carpet, you would get to the bathroom that was straight up cement.
Oh.
And I swear it was all like on an incline and a decline.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
a decline going in and an incline to go up to the toilet. So, have fun trying to come back out of the stall.
Oh my God, that was brutal.
Oh my goodness.
If you went there and swore you didn't get any exercise or workout at the roller rink, that's on you, because man, them things would tear you up.
Really. And if you didn't fall at least once, something's wrong.
Yeah. Or have a few handful of blisters to prove you were there either. All right. So now let's talk about video stores and or music stores.
Oh, you know what? There was something about a video store back in the day, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was like the quintessential Friday night with a girl squad. And we'd be so excited because we were going to pick out some movies for our slumber party, which we had a slumber party pretty much every weekend.
that was our thing. It really was.
It really was, and there was what? At least 8 of us running around all the time.
Easily.
So it may not have been, it didn't start off as a slumber party, but it ended up being one because there was 8 of you. That's enough to have a slumber party.
Easily.
But that was part of it, going into the video store and, at least picking out a couple videos, and
Yeah.
remember they had the little tags. They'd have the displays out and they had the little tags, and you would take the little key thing, the tag up to say, I want this movie.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
And they're always like the aisles of all the choices were so well arranged, and I mean the displays were just amazing.
They really were.
Yeah, it always smelled real clean. They felt open and spacious.
Yeah.
I don't know. That is something you do miss. Like why did they have to go?
Yeah. And here we had a little tiny town, and we had several actual video stores.
We did.
But, even our supermarket had a little video area. And because videos were so big back then, people even in smaller villages than what we lived in, they had little like convenience stores that had like maybe a set of 10 videos you could probably rent. Because everybody was in on the game.
Yeah. They were not going to be left out.
No. I remember they would charge you if you didn't rewind your video.
Yes, because our goody two shoes mom would do that for them, and safe recorder.
She did.
But most people didn't care. They're like, whatever,
Yeah.
And you too, the minute they walk out the door, they take that tape, put it in their rewinder under the counter, and like, is it that hard, people? Are you that lazy?
Right.
Oh, brother, you could have saved that money and got you an overly expensive snack there at the display.
Right. And the fact that like everybody was in on the video store segment, it was pretty much the same like with music. Like, you could go into, like, this is well before Walmart, there was Kmart's and there was Hills, Gold Circle, Ames, there were these kinds of stores that even had their own little music department. You could find the LPs, 45s, but mainly you could find a lot of cassette tapes.
Yeah.
And they would have those little displays that were a theft deterrent. but they also helped with the display case, because those things were a little deep, but they like you could almost fit 3 tapes in this, but it was just the one.
Oh my goodness, I remember that. That's crazy. So tech, you think back about those kind of things, you think, man, that's so ancient. Boy, that's an ancient relic. And you think of now, theft deterrent is a little shield or an eyeball staring down at you because of the tech,
Yeah, it's like if we had any idea how many cameras were actually on you when you go into a store, you'd probably really feel like your privacy was invaded.
Yeah, aka it is.
Yeah, you're like, I just want to choose between these shampoos. That's all I want to do.
Okay, so that's a nice segue into, we just talked about like VHS and movies. Let's take it back a little further and we think about old school drive-in movies.
Oh, wow. You know what? Yes, that was some good times right there.
It was.
Very, very nostalgic. And I mean, like, you can really remember that when we were little bugs, like seriously little. And mom loved a good movie. She still does. But she was more than happy to take us to the theater, but she also really liked the drive-in.
Yes, she did.
Yeah. And there were a couple, 3 nearby, but the one that was in our tiny little town was just outside of town in the middle of a cornfield.
Yeah, it was. And it was between 2 state routes.
Yep.
So if you're coming or going east or west or north or south, if you go by it within 3 minutes, if your frequency was intact, you probably could get about 3 minutes of the movie going. But
Yeah.
yeah, and Coop we were talking about this, and Coop mentioned something that I totally forgot about, and that was how you heard the movie in your car. What was that, Coop?
That was that huge, ugly silver speaker.
Yes,
You would have to mount it to your window.
it was huge, people. I mean, this thing was like as heavy as your car.
Yes.
You had to be very careful putting it on. You might break it.
Really, seriously, but it all added to the vibe of things.
It did. It did. It was that's definitely nostalgia right there.
Yeah, and just like anywhere else, the roller rink, any place else, there was always a concession stand,
Mm-hmm.
so that was cool.
Yes, yes. And of course, she was talking about the one that was closest to us. They're basically all gone now in our area,
Yeah.
but which I think there might be a couple. We probably have to drive at least 40, 45 minutes an hour to get to the nearest one.
Yeah.
But we were talking about this and saying how with the pandemic now, that might have been a nice option if they still had those available.
Absolutely.
Because you could go still have fun. You don't want to sit at home and stream something. You still want to have that theater experience. If they were still around, that you would be able to do so. Fairly safe-ish.
Yeah,
In a
and I
drive-in
think,
setting.
didn't someone try to do that when the pandemic got really bad, like back in well, probably mid 20s. I think it was Walmart was trying to do it to where you can go to a parking lot. Remember that?
They did, and I didn't hear any inklings of it this year. I don't know how that turned out.
Yeah, I don't know if anything even really got remotely close to us.
Yeah.
But, they were that feel. They went for that, give people
Yeah.
some good times.
Now, what do you remember that we did see quickly at the drive-in?
I can remember clearly watching E.T.
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
I definitely remember seeing Pocahontas.
Oh, Pocahontas was a good movie.
It was.
Now, I remember Dark Crystal. We got to see like 2 minutes of it because our mom she didn't have the same taste in films that we did. She didn't like stuff that seemed weird. That was very weird to her.
Yes.
And before, we were getting all ready to watch it and everything. Before we knew it, the car was moving out. So it was like, what just happened? We're ready to watch this movie. Nope. Mom's like, we're done. She's such a buzzkill.
Yeah, she was not having any of Dark Crystal. That was the end of that. But something that she did get into was like the circus, the fair, because she was all about wanting to give us kids a good time.
She really was. Yeah. 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 We appreciate that of our mom. Like again, we did a lot of things on a budget because we didn't have that kind of money to just be throwing around. But our mom did get creative in trying to entertain us three kids. And, we so appreciate it because we did have a great childhood. So.
Yes, absolutely. And remember when the circus did come to the town just over from us? That's the mall we always went to. Well, it was in that parking lot. So it was no feat to go there because Mom liked the mall.
She really did. Spend that coin, spend that money. But they had elephants and the stilted clowns. I remember a couple of things from the circus when we did go.
And I think they even had some hay around, to kind of give it that feel that they probably regretted later, because they had to clean up the parking lot.
I don't know. Were you talking about actual hay or the clown's hair? Okay, yeah, artist mistake, right?
Right.
Kind of looked like ours in the summer. It was hay. Okay, well, we are almost done with our apple snack this week. We probably really could go on and on. There's so much.
Yeah.
But Coop mentioned one that it is near and dear to our hearts. And what's that one, Coop?
That is the root beer stand.
Yeah. So, do you
Oh,
guys remember those?
right? They would have like either a giant root beer on top, and it just had that 60s look to it because they've been around for a minute, but we're just talking about when we actually interacted because that was mom. She loved going there.
She
You know,
did.
mom
She
would go
did.
with her girl squad, which ultimately became our girl squad, their children.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And these things were really set up like, if you have a hard time connecting or understanding what we're talking about, it'd be equivalent to like what a Sonic is now.
Yeah.
It's a curbside, establishment where they have car hops that
Yep.
come out and take your order, and then they bring your food back to you, just like at the drive-in. That you'd roll your window down, and they'd take the tray and sit it on your window.
They sure did. They sure did. Talk about being prepared for pandemic. They were back in the day.
That's another one that would have probably flew.
Yep.
Yeah, and um, like how did the presentation happen when they brought that tray out?
Oh, there would be, I think they only had two sizes. They had either the large mug or the baby mug. And the moms got the big large mugs.
Yes,
And we
yes.
got the little baby mugs. They were all frosted over and
Uh huh.
cold.
So good.
There were probably like 2 teaspoons of root beer in there, but it was delicious.
It was. It was like a real. It was a real authentic tasting drink. It was
Yeah.
like you could really. It's just a root beer, but you felt like you were in heaven.
Yes. Yes. So, so good. Now, dad, on the other hand, if he had been there, he'd be like, no, put a little ice cream in mine.
Yeah, that's where Coop gets her sugar sweet tooth from.
I admit it. Guilty as charged.
Yeah, both of them. They are diabetically sweet, right?
Yes.
They will be.
Oh.
But they had the best food there too. Like you could get a hamburger, cheeseburger. They had the best fries and our mom's favorite onion rings.
Yes. Mom could scout out a good onion ring.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
literally could find a good onion ring anywhere.
She really could. Oh my goodness. Like we said earlier, this is one of those subjects we could go on and on about. It's just it's just kind of a downer that some of these fond places have gone the way of the dodo.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's nice to be able to sit and have the warm fond memories as we discuss them.
Yeah, because it puts a smile on your face just like it did back then.
It really does. So, there's nothing like a good old dose of warm nostalgia.
And that's it for this week's Apple Snack. But as you know, there's always more where that came from. So stay tuned. Subscribe, review, and spread the word. See you next time in the Retro Orchard, and thanks so much for listening.